I'm making a journey long, the greatest journey of all. My steps may fail, but please don't let me fall. The way is narrow, Lord, and sometimes I feel alone. But when my heart feels low, I softly pray this song. Give me the heart to be pure. Give me the faith to be sure. Give me the strength to endure. All of my creation. So, we're making a journey, the greatest journey of all. The journey back to ourselves, back home. It is really the ultimate hero's journey, the journey to self-discovery. It is that discovery of the true self. Being willing to let go of the stuff, of our past, of our thinking, of our way of being, and really embodying and embracing our own true nature, our Christ nature, if you will, the light, the true light that enlightens everyone. As it says in John, the light that enlightens everyone was coming into the world, and that light has come. And that light has come as you and me. And it is our opportunity to awaken to it. And not just awaken to it, but to truly bring it into manifestation. To really embody it and to live it. To be it in the world. Yeah? We talk about it a lot, but are we really willing to be it? And I ask that question of myself. Am I really willing to be it? The truth is, I am it. The truth is, you are it. You can never not be it. Except you can not believe it. And not embody it and not do it. Not act as if you be it. You know? And so that's where I am in my own journey. Really, am I willing to be it? And I'm guessing that maybe some of you may be on that same journey. You know? That we are doing it together. Yeah, we're on the road together. We're on this journey together. The journey of embracing and embodying that. And why is it important for us to do that? Because in doing that, as we say in our mission, and as Unity Worldwide Ministry says in their mission, that we celebrate a world that is powerfully transformed through our shared spiritual awakening. Our shared spiritual awakening so that we awaken to the Christ, and we live from the Christ. And we're on that journey. mythologist and author, lecturer, Joseph Campbell said that sometimes we have to release the life that we have in order to live the life that we are destined to live. There's also, I attributed sometimes to Einstein, I think it's much older than that, but the idea of I have to be willing to let go of who I am in order to be who I may be, who I am here to be. And I think that, it's just really alive for me right now. It's alive for me right now about a conviction in a way. It's that calling that we have, to go on this journey. It is the ultimate hero's journey because we receive the call to step out and to really live from this place, to find ourselves and to discover ourselves on the journey and to bring ourselves back to the now. Really, that is our journey. And every moment is an opportunity for us to live that journey. And so, as I've pondered that this week, I'm thinking, well, why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? For myself, why don't I do it all the time? Why am I not living it? Why am I not walking it all the time? Why am I not standing here in my knowing of myself as the Christ, embodied in this experience, and living and acting and speaking and doing all the time from that knowing? Why am I not? Maybe I am. I don't know. Why am I hesitant? It's like the song said, I think the way is narrow. The Bible says, Jesus said, the gate is narrow and the way is narrow that leads to life. And few choose to find it. But I think that the way, the gates, I think there are more than one, I think there's a gate that leads us to a place of understanding, a place of knowing, a place of living from that. And then once we get there, we realize, oh, there's another gate for me to walk through. There's another awakening for me to have. There's another thing for me to do. What I find is that, and you may find this too, it's like this, I want to go here, but I want to stay here. I want to go here, but I want to stay here. I know I want to go there, but I want to stay here. So there's that resistance. There's that tug-of-war sort of thing going on with, hey, I know how to do this, What keeps me from taking that step into the unknown, taking that step into a greater understanding, a greater revelation, a greater expression of who I truly am as the Christ. And it is, I think, for me, and you may relate to this, because I am comfortable right where I'm at. I know how to do this. I'm comfortable. In a way, I'm comfortable. I have one of my original spiritual teachers said, called it divine discontent. When you think you're comfortable, but something within you knows you're not really comfortable, that there's something more. There's something calling you, there's something urging you to take that next step, to find that gate, to walk into that path, and to start walking that new path. It doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how young you are. I think life is always calling us to a greater expression of itself through us. And I feel the call, I feel the call. And there's part of me, that personality, the ego self of me, that says, I'm kind of comfortable here. I know how to do this. I don't know what's on the other side. Anybody else ever have that experience? And And the reason I don't do a lot of things that I think I might want to do is, one thing, I have this idea that I think I have to know how. That I think David, this personality self, thinks he needs to know how to do it. Anybody else ever feel that way? If I don't know how to do it, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take the step, you know? For God's sake, what if I take that step and I fall on my face? What if I fail? Or worse, what if I take a step, fall on my face, and everybody laughs at me? Thinks I'm a fool. You know? So I have to ask myself, am I willing? Is this personality self willing to be a fool? Willing to be laughed at? You know, Jesus told his disciples, if you're persecuted for my sake, what does that mean? You know, for us. We're really willing to live from that place of knowing that we are the Christ, of awakening to the Christ, and living as the Christ. You know, people might think you're bonkers. You know, they might think you've totally lost your mind. But what a gift in losing your mind, right? I mean, the mind is just full of stuff, right? Stuff. What a gift to lose your mind. Thank you for noticing. Yeah, I've lost my mind. I don't need that old stuff anymore. Or you might step out there and you say, yeah, I'm making a commitment every day, every moment of every day to live as the truth of my being, as the Christ. And somebody might say, well, who do you think you are, Jesus Christ? I say, no, I'm David the Christ. I'm Bonnie the Christ. I'm Ruth the Christ. I'm Linda the Christ. I'm whoever the Christ. We're all the Christ. And are we willing to claim it? Yeah. So the idea that I need to know how to do it keeps me sometimes from taking that next step. There's also the idea for me is, if I take that step, am I just going to be alone? Will anybody be there to support me? Will anybody be there to walk the path with me? And there's some fear around that. But when I think about that, I think, you know, it is the hero's journey. And as I thought about that this week, and I thought about, is it really rational? Well, who cares? I like the idea of not being irrational, but being trans-rational, you know? There's a difference. Transcending the rational is different than just being irrational, right? So I'm being trans-rational. That the hero's journey, and there are many examples of the hero's journey in our culture, in literature. But of course, my favorite one is The Wizard of Oz. I don't know about you. But the idea that I remember Dorothy going on that journey. You know, Dorothy was all up in the whole mind thing, the whole tornado thing, the whole mind thing. She was all caught up in that, complaining about her life. Nobody cared about her. Nobody paid her any attention. She was all caught up in that. The old ladies, whoever that was. Who was that woman? Mrs. Whoever the woman was that was trying to take her dog away from her. So she was all caught up in that. She was going to run away, and she got caught up in the tornado. How many of us get caught up in the tornado from time to time? That mental stuff, that mental energy, that whole spinning in the mind. So then she goes into she gets caught up, lands on the witch, of course, and begins her journey. And I believe there's great truth in that story, in this whole hero's journey story, that as we're willing to take that step, that the people, our guides, show up. Glenda showed up for Dorothy. The Scarecrow and the Lion and the Tin Man showed up for Dorothy. The guides were there. And we all have those, right? I know on my path, it amazes me. And I say it amazes me, I delight in it, because it does surprise me sometimes when people show up in my life at exactly the right moment that I need them to show up in my life to tell me, to share with me a truth that I need in that moment. Has anybody else ever experienced that? You get the right book, the right television show, the right movie, just even a billboard will show up in front of you and giving you a guidance that you need. It amazes and delights me when that happens. And it happens quite frequently for me. I'm grateful to say that. We all have guides in the physical and in the non-physical. You know, I'm going to reveal myself to you a little bit more, but I have conversations and I have walks with Jesus. In my own mind, I think Jesus is a guide for me. And I have walks on the beach with Jesus. Nobody's running out the door yet, but I'm guessing many of you have the same. So we have those guides that are there to show us the way, to help guide us. Whoever your guide is can be in the physical or the non-physical. So I trust that. And then the other thing that really, I think, seems to keep me from taking that step is really, I don't know what's on the other side. I want some assurance. Anybody else feel that way? I want some assurance that what's on the other side of that is going to be better than what's on this side. You know? Do you do that in your own life sometimes? Maybe you feel a guidance to maybe even change jobs or something, and you think, oh, well, I'm going to stay with the devil I know, you know. I'm not going to take that step into something new, or a relationship, or service in the church, or whatever that is. I don't know what's on the other side. But what I believe about the hero's journey that we are all on is what is on the other side is our divine selves. And I love the song. That song is actually, some of you may know that song. It's Cynthia Clawson from back in the 1970s or 1980s, I think. But the idea of giving me a heart, let me have a heart that is pure. A heart that is pure. You know, Jesus said, the pure of heart, blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God. Give me a heart that is pure. Give me a heart that only seeks to see God, to know God as myself, to know God in and through and as each and every one of you, to see God everywhere I look, to hear God with everything I hear, to experience God in everything, through everything, as everything. Give me the heart that has a pure intention to know and to see and to stand in the knowing that God is all. Let that be the pure intention of my heart. Give me the faith to be sure. We all have faith. Allow me to exercise my faith so that I am sure that no matter what I think I see on the external, that what I'm really seeing is God manifested. That is faith. That is the power of faith, to see beyond what we might judge in the outer and to see the activity of God manifested in and through all things. Give me the heart to want to see that. Give me the faith, the knowing of that. Give me the power to exercise that faith so that that is all I choose to know and see. And give me the strength that when I forget, that I can come back. Give me the strength, the courage of my heart to choose, even if I fall down, fail in some way, to get back up and do it again. That is my prayer for myself. Let me have a pure heart. I choose to have a pure heart. I choose to know that. I choose to exercise my faith in following that pure heart. And we all have the power of strength to embody that, to live it. So I invite us to know that we're on the journey. And sometimes the journey requires us to leave the old behind. Sometimes it asks us to let go of something. And sometimes that's scary, isn't it? What am I going to have to let go of? And I think the only fear for me, what I notice, is the only struggle in letting go is trying to hang on. Have you noticed? I love that poster with the cat, it has the claw marks. Everything I ever had to let go of had my claw marks all over it, That's where we suffer. So I think as we embody and we embrace and we choose to follow the Christ, to live the Christ, to be the Christ as ourselves, and we're willing to let go of the stuff, willing and ready to let go of the stuff, that we are led. We are led, we are guided, we are supported on that path, on that journey. Because we are making a journey of discovery, a journey of self-discovery, a journey of reclaiming our true selves, moment by moment by moment. And we can be on that journey consciously, or we can be on that journey unconsciously. But we're all on the journey. So why not do it consciously? Why not make the conscious choice to be on the journey, to claim ourselves, and to share ourselves with the world, and to celebrate a world that is powerfully transformed, moment by moment by moment, through our willingness, our decision to know ourselves and to live that self in the world. We're on a journey, the greatest journey of all. And that journey happens in every moment. Really, there's nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. I've heard the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. It's a journey without distance. And that journey, I believe, begins with one breath. Our willingness to stop and breathe and choose. To choose once again, to know ourselves as the Christ. And so over the next few weeks, we'll be talking a little bit more about that and how we let go. Some ideas about letting go and truly walking that path. So I hope you'll join us.